Parmesan crust on the bottom, cheese in it, any topping you want. Like, this is pizza. Like, that's awesome. Welcome to another episode of Baking with Kai, and today we are making pizza, but not like pizza you've ever seen before. We are making pull-apart pizza, which is super fun for snacking. You can tear apart chunks, dip it in pizza sauce, and it has this amazing crispy, cheesy crust on the outside. Pizza dough flavor is an amazing ingredient to have in your pantry to use in savory breads. There's a little bit of garlic, just some savoriness that's totally delicious and really just takes your pizza to the next level. So let's mix it all up in our mixing bowl, and we'll knead it until a slightly sticky ball forms about 6 to 8 minutes. And we'll start with a paddle attachment for about 2 minutes, mixing the sticky dough together. Then we'll switch to the dough hook and knead it for about 6 to 8 minutes until it gains some strength. All right, our dough has been kneading for about 6 minutes. Still looks a little bit sticky, that's totally normal. The semolina will hydrate as the flour rests in the fridge, and it'll become easier to work with. This dough won't fully clean the sides of the bowl. Again, that's fine. It should have some strength to it though. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to cover it, let it rise at room temperature for about 45 minutes, and you'll see the dough expand slightly during that time, and then we'll put it into the fridge for at least 4 hours, up to 36. So our dough has rested at room temperature for 45 minutes. It has expanded, become just a little bit puffy, and now I will put it in the fridge for 4 to 36 hours. And during that time, it will develop a ton of flavor, and it will also rise and become easier to handle. So off to the fridge. So next we're going to prepare our pan. I'm going to use a cast iron skillet for the pizza we're making today because I love the way it looks, and then I have one big pizza to pull apart and share with friends. So if you're using a cast iron, I like to prevent it from sticking and just add extra insurance by using a piece of parchment in the bottom. You could skip this step, but why risk having your pizza sticking after all this work? So I'm gonna add a piece of parchment to the bottom, and then I'll oil the pan generously. That will help our Parmesan cheese stick to the sides and the bottom. Then we'll build our pizza right in it. So you get this amazing crust of Parmesan cheese on the bottom and sides, which is one of the best parts of this pizza. So now that my pan is generously greased, I'm going to sprinkle the cheese in and fully coat it. So I'll start with 2 or 3 tablespoons, and then I will shake the pan to distribute the cheese evenly. And remember, you want it to go up the sides too. So I have a piece of parchment underneath to catch any cheese so that we can add it back in if we need to. So it looks like I'll need about another tablespoon. Break up any large clumps. This is kind of a fun step. I'll add my last tablespoon and kind of try to toss it on the sides. If you have any thick layers, you can just, oh, there we go. Tap the pan, it'll release it, and then you can just make sure that it's evenly coating the pan. Then just tap out any excess so that the layer is nice and even. Looks pretty good, I think. So now that the pan is greased and it has an even coating of Parmesan cheese, it's time to build the pull-apart pizza. This is what the dough looks like after it's come out of the fridge. This dough rested overnight. It's expanded, I see some bubbles, it's got that great color from the semolina, so we're ready to work with it. So next we're going to prepare the topping and shape our dough. So for this step, you'll want a large mixing bowl, and to it you're going to add better cheddar cheese powder. This is one of my favorite ingredients that I always have in my kitchen. I love adding it to mac and cheese. I add it to my bechamel sauce or sprinkle it over popcorn. So good. You're also going to add some pizza seasoning. This is our blend of garlic, onion, dried herbs like basil, oregano, and some salt, and it adds a lot of flavor. So I'm going to flour my work surface pretty well. Then I'll use my bowl scraper to turn the dough out of the bowl onto the flour. This is gluten at work. You can see the strands, almost looks like a spider web. This is what gives dough strength, and it develops with kneading or with time, in this case both. Now I'm going to stretch the dough into a rectangle that's about 9 by 13 inches. You can flour your hands and just kind of pat it out. If you find that you need a little bit of extra strength, you can use a rolling pin. I'll start with just my hands. So I'll use a rolling pin just to make sure that this gets to its full size. So this is not one of the times where you need exact corners, like we're not making croissants or laminated dough. Try to get it in a rough rectangle if you can. And now we're ready to cut the dough. I'm going to use a pizza wheel, which is the best tool for this job, but you could also use a bench knife, or if you're working on a cutting board, you could just use a chef's knife. We're going to cut it into strips that are about 1 inch across, and then we'll do the same so that we have even cubes that are about 1 inch in size. So I've got my dough cut. I'm going to add them to my mixing bowl that has the topping. I'll start by adding about half. And when you're adding them, try to keep them somewhat separate, and then the coating will keep them from sticking together. Our pizza dough is cut and evenly coated with this delicious topping. So now we'll add some cheese and some toppings, and then we'll put it in the pan and bake it. It's important that these pieces stay separate because this is what gives the pizza its pull-apart quality. And then with the toppings here, you want to use about a cup total at the max. If you go over and use a cup and a half, no one's coming after you. But if you use too many toppings, it'll take a really long time for the pizza to bake. The exterior will get overbaked and it will just take forever. So use about a cup, and you can mix and match any toppings that you want. If it sounds good to you, go for it. I'm gonna add my cheese first. I'm not gonna measure it using a scale or a measuring cup, but I'm going to use about a cup total. So I've made an all veggie combo here because that's what I like. You should use whatever toppings you want to put on your pull-apart pizza. You can let kids customize it themselves, which is really fun. I'm going all veg. Now that I have my toppings added, I will just make sure that they're evenly combined with the dough, break apart any dough chunks that form, and then we'll put it in the pan. So I'll just add the dough to the pan, just kind of scattering it evenly. So at this point, we'll cover the dough, let it rise for about an hour at room temperature, and it will become puffy, and then we'll bake. Our pizza is out of the oven. It smells incredible. The top has this gorgeous brown caramelized top, and the crusty edge where we put Parmesan has turned golden brown and is looking so good. I'm going to use my offset spatula to just loosen any of that cheese that might be stuck on the edge. It's cooled for about 5 minutes in the pan, so now we can turn it out before that molten cheese sticks to the side. Oh yeah, cheese in the middle. Some steam. Oh, this is amazing. Toppings in every bite. This is like dream pizza, cloud pizza. Even if you don't think you like thick crust pizza, this is just a different genre of pizza. You're gonna love it. Dip it, enjoy, bake it, dip it, enjoy, and let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Oh.